Slave brides of the Ottoman Empire, brutal punishments they endured. Imagine waking up on your wedding night, not to flowers, not to a waiting husband, but to guards holding whips, chains, and iron rods. For some women in the Ottoman Empire, marriage began with shackles. These weren't love stories, they were transactions. And when those brides resisted, the punishments waiting for them were so brutal, so methodical, most of us wouldn't last a single day. The Ottoman Empire lasted more than 6 centuries, stretching across 3 continents. And inside that vast world, slavery wasn't a hidden practice. It was institutionalized. Women were taken as concubines or slave brides, stripped of choice, stripped of rights, and placed in households where obedience wasn't optional. And when obedience failed, the empire had punishments designed to control the body, crush the spirit, and remind everyone else what happened if you dared to step out of line. Punishment of the body. Let's start with the bastinado, one of the most infamous punishments. Picture this. You're forced to lie down, ankles bound, feet in the air. But instead of a massage, a heavy rod comes crashing down, strike after strike, on the soles of your feet. At first, it burns. Then the skin splits, the muscles tear. Walking becomes impossible. And that's the point. You can't escape if you can't stand. But that was only the beginning. Lashes across the back with rawhide whips left scars that told a permanent story. Branding with hot irons marked runaway brides like livestock. And mutilation, ears, noses, even fingers, turned women into living symbols of disobedience. Could you imagine carrying your punishment on your face for the rest of your life? Punishment of the spirit. Inside the Sultan's harem, punishment took a quieter, deadlier form. Forget the myths of silk cushions and perfumes. This was a cage of politics and fear. A concubine who displeased the wrong person might face the dreaded silken cord, a bowstring tightened around the neck until silence fell. No blood, no public scene, just erasure. Other punishments attacked the mind. Days of confinement in a chamber called the cage, gagging, where women were forbidden to speak for days. Forced silence turned identity itself into a weapon. And sometimes, the punishment was simply erasure from daily life. No tasks, no words, no acknowledgement. For a woman whose value depended on service, that silence was devastating. Public warnings. Not all punishments happened behind palace walls. Some were public theater. A slave bride accused of dishonor might be paraded through the streets with her face blackened with soot, riding a donkey backwards while crowds jeered. Others wore iron collars with bells that announced every step. Mothers could lose their children, handed off like property to another household. For many women, that wound cut deeper than any lash. And if escape was attempted, the price could be execution, drowning in weighted sacks thrown into the Bosphorus, or public stoning meant to terrify every onlooker. Everyday torments. Not every punishment drew blood. Some lived in daily routine. Slave brides could be forced to grind grain for endless hours, scrub floors while shackled, or carry jugs of water up and down steps until collapse. Labor became torture in slow motion. Even humiliation was ritualized, shaved heads paraded through markets, mock marriages staged to destroy dignity, or being forced to serve a rival in the harem. The cruelty wasn't always about death. Sometimes it was about stripping away humanity, piece by piece. When you step back, you see the pattern. These punishments weren't random, they were systematic. They were performances of power. From the silken cord to the bastinado, from shaved heads to stolen children, every act was designed to remind women, and everyone watching, that resistance was hopeless. But here's the haunting part. The legacy of those punishments didn't vanish with the empire. The scars, the whispered stories, the cultural memories, they all lived on. So let me ask you, do you think survival, in a system built to break you, is its own form of resistance? History isn't just kings, battles, and dates. It's also the silenced voices of those who endured. If you found this story eye-opening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And in the comments, tell me, which of these punishments shocked you the most? Because the past isn't gone. it's still whispering to us, if we're willing to listen. Which punishment shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments. Every scar, every secret, every story. Hit subscribe and uncover more of history's tortured past.